too, and I hope you let me in, yeah.
Hey guys, what's going on, dudes? It is David here, and we are back with another. Hey guys, what's going on, dudes? It is David here, and we are back with another. And in this video, guys, we are going to be talking about somebody that is very important when it comes to the sport I love, that is NASCAR, and somebody that is going to be retiring at the end of the season. Even though many people thought he would stay in, but NASCAR wants to complete this 36 races. So after the 36 races are complete, hopefully, Jimmie Johnson will be retiring. Yes, this video we're going to be talking about Jimmie Johnson, the 7-time champion in NASCAR. He'll be done after this season. The era where I started watching NASCAR is basically kind of over because Jeff Gordon's retired, Dale Jr.'s retired, Tony Stewart retired, Matt Kenseth was technically retired, Greg Biffle, Carl Edwards, all these guys that were racing around the same era are retired now. Jimmie is one of the last ones to be a part of that era, and he's going to be retired at the end of the season. Kyle Busch, I wouldn't consider. Kyle Busch did start in 2007, but I really consider him part because Jimmie Johnson started racing in the Cup Series in 2003. Jeff Gordon started racing the Cup Series around 1992. 1993 was his rookie season. So yeah, it's shocking to see Jimmie Johnson say goodbye at the end of the season. This was supposed to be his farewell season, and look what's happening in the world. It just sucks. And them showing the commercials of Jimmie Johnson, like everybody thanking Jimmie Johnson for all that he's done for the sport, all that he's done in NASCAR, it's just so emotional to see. Because it truly is the end of an era for one of the greatest NASCAR drivers of all time. 7-time champion. He has more than 80 wins in NASCAR, and it just really sucks. And the fact that he hasn't won a race since 2017, it just brings on the more simple factor of we hope that he wins the season. Because we don't want Jimmie Johnson to go out in his final season without a win. And not having won a race since 2017, not having won a race in 3 years. Nobody wants to have that happen to a 7-time champion, and someone who is as important to NASCAR as Jimmie Johnson is. He's one of the most veteran He is one of the most veteran, great drivers in NASCAR. And to see him retire, it brings back memories of when 2015 when Jeff Gordon happened to retire. Jeff Gordon is my favorite driver, as you guys could tell by the hat and thing. That's because I want to talk. When I talk about NASCAR, I want to wear NASCAR related stuff. I don't want to really wear NFL related stuff because I'm talking about a different sport. So yeah, the last time this reminds me of when a certain driver was leaving. As important to NASCAR as this is, Tony Stewart was kind of important to NASCAR. I mean, he does own a team in the NASCAR Cup Series, but a retirement hasn't been this big when it came to announcement as Jeff Gordon back in 2015, and probably Dale Jr. too, and I think it was 2018. And ever since those guys have retired, they've gone into the broadcast booth. Jeff Gordon for Fox Sports, Dale Jr. for NBC. So we're gonna have to see what Jimmie Johnson does. I really highly doubt that Jimmie Johnson's gonna want to be in the booth because I really haven't seen him have that much practice in the past year or last season. I think he did it once or twice last season. So yeah, when it comes to that, I don't really think he's going to be in the broadcast booth. I think he's going to be a part of NASCAR in some different type of way. Probably one of the I don't really know when it comes to Jimmie Johnson what he's going to do because nobody really knows what he's going to do. Everybody just hopes they can finish the season in a very strong way and make the playoffs. I really hope Jimmie Johnson does make the playoffs, considering last year was the first time he hasn't made the playoffs since he started his career in 2003. And Jeff Gordon, throughout his career, only missed the playoffs twice. Jimmie Johnson has only missed the playoff once. And even though Jimmie Johnson hasn't raced in NASCAR as long as Jeff Gordon, that's still really, really impressive to not miss a playoff in every season that you've been in besides, of course, last season. Now, the way things are going, apparently, when it came to the last race, which was last night, Jimmie Johnson actually finished second, but his car got disqualified because he failed post-race inspection, which means he went from, I think, gaining 39 points to 0 points. He went from being 11th in the standings to 15th in the standings. But I'm just really happy to see that Jimmie Johnson is still above that 16th spot, because the 16th spot is really not good. Jimmie Johnson had to battle his way to get near that 16th spot, and he still didn't make it. So to see Jimmie Johnson ahead of the cut line, ahead of that 16th spot, and knowing that there's a lot of more races coming up that Jimmie Johnson does well, they'll be back at Charlotte on Wednesday, and Jimmie Johnson does really, really well at Charlotte. I mean, he just finished second in the race last night, so Jimmie Johnson can have another performance. And the Chevys were doing good last night, so Jimmie Johnson can have another performance like he did last night. Jimmie Johnson will have no doubt a factor that he will be one of the contenders to be in the playoffs. And we got tracks like Bristol. Jimmie Johnson's done really, really well. Bristol. We got Martinsville. Jimmie Johnson, back when he was racing against Jeff Gordon, Denny Hamlin, he was considered to be one of the best at Martinsville. I'm pretty sure you just got a lot of races that Jimmie Johnson is going to be very, very good at. And I think Jimmie Johnson will actually win a race in his final season, because every person in their final season, besides Dale Jr., has won a race. Tony Stewart won a race in his final season. Jeff Gordon won a final race in his final season, which means I think Jimmie Johnson's final win when it comes to the 2020 season for him. Jeff Gordon won his final race at one of his favorite tracks in Martinsville. Tony Stewart won his final race, I think it was at Sonoma. Wait, no, that was 2014. What am I talking about? I don't think Tony Stewart actually won a race in his final season, so let me take that back. My mistake. But when it comes to what track Jimmie Johnson could possibly win at, when it comes to his final season, I think Jimmie Johnson is going to be able to win at Dover, the second race at Dover, the second Dover, which is going to be, is it in the playoffs? I think Dover's still in the playoffs, so yeah, I think he's going to win his final race at Dover, and probably get to the round of 12, not sure about the round of 8, and he'll at least make the playoffs, win a race, finish the season strong, and then he can go on to his retirement, see what we'll do there, and we'll see who replaces him at the end of the 2020 season. But when it comes to Jimmie Johnson's legacy in NASCAR, like I said before, he is a 7-time champion, more than 80 wins. For a certain time there, I actually thought that he was going to be catching up to Jeff Gordon. He would be the third almost winningest driver, because I'm pretty sure he's only I think he's like 8 wins away from Jeff Gordon's record, which is 93. So I was really getting worried about there, because I wanted Jeff Gordon to have one better stat than Jimmie Johnson when it came to wins or championships, and Jimmie Johnson already passed him in championships. And the rivalries that Jimmie Johnson's had, like the fun rivalries that he's had, the friendly rivalry he had with Jeff Gordon, where in one moment I remember at Texas where he got behind Jeff Gordon and Jeff Gordon said on the radio, 4 times a little upset. And what those memories, Jimmie Johnson winning 5 straight championships, nobody's ever done that. Nobody's even won 4 straight championships. That's just one of the reasons why Jimmie Johnson will forever be a legend in NASCAR. He is most certainly a first ballot Hall of Famer like Jeff Gordon was. 7 championships, 5 straight. That is almost undoubtedly. If Jimmie Johnson had only won like 30 races, but he still won 7 straight championships, 5 straight championships and 7 championships in total, that would still be a Hall of Famer, because 5 straight in a row is really, really tough to do. Jeff Gordon's best thing, he won 2 straight, 97 and 98. The final year of his 2 straight was the year I was born. The previous best driver when it comes to championships in a row was Cale Yarborough when he won 3 straight. So that just tells you how good Jimmie Johnson really was in that time era. And that was most of the time when I was watching NASCAR, and I still watch NASCAR, but that was the time that Jimmie Johnson was dominant. And I just really, really hope when it comes to the end of the 2020 season, Jimmie Johnson does do what he wanted to do. He retires, he goes on into whatever he wants to do, whether that's be in the broadcast booth or something else. I just hope that Jimmie Johnson has a great rest of his life, and I thank him for all that he's done for NASCAR, and I can't wait to see how he ends the season, hopefully, possibly, with the championship. Maybe a championship. Imagine Jimmie Johnson going off and winning a championship in his final season. That'd be absolutely amazing. But anyway, guys, I want to thank you guys for watching this video. Please just smash the like button. But anyway, guys, I will see you guys all later. Peace.